Many of you know Reverend Mary Beth. Mary Beth has just been a great gift. So many of us I know, and many of you are in Monday Morning Metaphysics. She's been teaching that for many years. She is an ordained religious science minister for 25 years. Can you hear me now? Am I on? Yeah. Okay, sorry about that. I'm not going to repeat everything I said, but it was all good. So, but over those 25 years, Mary Beth has co-pastored 2 ministries for many years, along with myself. She continues to teach and speak in the area, and she is just a gift of, let's just say, using words and bringing these teachings out, which sometimes can seem like they're complex or confusing. She has a knack of just bringing them in a very simple way that we can use and work with, and that's what we're all about, right? We're here to learn how to see life in a different way and use it in a meaningful way in our lives. So with no further words, I'd love to bring up Reverend Mary Beth Spear to talk to us about Rise Up this morning.
Well, good morning. Good morning. Happy God morning here this beautiful Sunday. You know, one of the things that I always like to do when I'm with a group of magnificent people like we are, in this consciousness of recognition that there's only one of us here at the level of the absolute, that means we're all one with that, which means we're literally all one with each other. You've probably heard of this word. Sanskrit says namaste. You said namaste before, so I'm going to invite you, please turn around and to a few people say namaste. The God in me acknowledges and sees the God in you. Namaste. Namaste. Yeah. Thank you. Namaste, Michael. Yeah. Thank you. That was really a nice introduction. He meant it too, by the way. I didn't write it for him. So I had a lot of fun getting ready for this talk today, and I hope that I'm able to pull it off so you come along for the ride that I had. I have had balloons coming up for me a lot during this week in the preparation for being able to give this lesson today. So I kind of paid attention. You know, Spirit sends me all kinds of information when I begin to gather it up. It's kind of like what I do all week when I'm getting ready to speak. It's like if I was having you over for a soul dinner. I start accumulating all these ingredients, but then I kind of cook it up the night before and get it ready for you. So I hope that everybody has already gotten a green balloon. Is there anyone who does not have a green balloon? And for those of you online, I'm going to invite you today to please get a green balloon. And what you can do after the service is you can actually listen again to our magnificent technology, either on Facebook or YouTube, and you can go through some of the process we're going to have today with your green balloon. So I'm going to explain that to you all later. But first of all, I wanted to ask, is there anybody in the room that knows the name Larry Walters? You know, I kind of didn't think so, but I thought one or two of you might know Larry Walters if you knew his other name, which was Lawn Chair Larry. So you've heard of Lawn Chair Larry? So I'm going to tell you the story about Lawn Chair Larry. It actually does weave in spiritually in the oddest of ways, but it will all make this come together. So Larry Walters, a.k.a. Lawn Chair Larry, was a truck driver. He really wanted to fly, but he had bad vision, and so he wasn't able to fly. So instead he became a truck driver with bad vision. That's a little nerve-wracking, but anyway. But he really had this burning yearning to fly. And he had been in a surplus store at one point, and he'd seen these weather balloons hanging from the ceiling, and it gave him this big idea. So when truck driver Larry, about 33 years old, decided that he wanted to try flying. And he had this intention, he came up with this idea that he really wanted to float out from San Pedro, which is, you know, in Southern California, out over the Mojave Desert. That was his goal. And he decided that he was going to fix up this little rig with these weather balloons and get out over Mojave and then shoot the thing down with a pellet gun. This is a real plan we got here. So anyway, Larry and his girlfriend surreptitiously got 40-something balloons. They had to actually lie about it. They said it was for their employer who was doing a movie. And so they have all these this contraband balloons together. And on July 2nd of 1982, Larry attached 43 of those weather balloons to his webbed lawn chair. Yeah, there he is. He attached on his webbed lawn chair. And he was all set, and he got his gear. He's really thought this through now. He's got a pellet gun, a CB radio, a camera, some sandwiches, and beer. So he also had not really thought it was necessary to let him know in advance, like a flight plan or anything, I think he was kind of going on that thing about it better to beg forgiveness than ask permission, one of those. So off he got all set up, and he had the chair tethered to his truck, and about a minute or two before he got strapped in. Oh, and he had a parachute too. He gets strapped in, he's getting all ready, but what happened is the thing got loose before he planned on it. And so all of a sudden there's Larry with his gear and his beer, and he's up into the sky, and he goes up 16,000 feet. I did a little calculation. That was a little over 3 miles up in the air with his balloons, his pellet gun, his camera, his sandwiches, and his beer. So he was up there for about 45 minutes. Planes are going by going, was that what we really saw? And they were calling it into Long Beach Airport. Anyway, Larry at some point decided he really ought to come down and not shoot for the Mojave Desert after all. So he began to shoot some of the balloons, and in the process, he dropped the pellet gun. So there's our friend Larry in free fall. He free falls into the power lines over Long Beach, taking out power lines to houses around the area for over 20 minutes. They finally extricated him. He got him down unharmed, down on ground, where he was immediately arrested by waiting members of Long Beach safety team. And the quote of the regional safety inspector was said to have commented, well, we know he broke some part of the Federal Aviation Act, and as soon as we decide what part that is, some type of charge will be filed. If he had a pilot's license, we would have suspended that too, but he didn't. Well, the fate of Larry, eventually he paid a fine, little less than fine. He had about 15 minutes of fame. He actually did go on Letterman. He did do a little bit of public speaking, kind of faded into the woodwork. And the funny thing was that in a series of running around trying to find that lawn chair, they eventually got it, and it's sitting in the Smithsonian today. So what do we do when we've got a big idea? That's what we're going to talk about today. Louis Pasteur was originally the person who said this quote, which has been changed many times, but it kind of boils down, paraphrased, to chance favors the prepared mind. And so we can kind of see Larry was not exactly in that bailiwick, but what he did say, Larry did say, he said, it was something I had to do. I had this dream for 20 years, and if I hadn't done it, I think I would have ended up in the funny farm. So, you got to have a dream. If you don't have a dream, how are you going to make a dream come true? What I want to talk to us about today is we all have dreams. There's none of us that don't. Sometimes, though, those dreams seem so big, and our ego, EGO, edging God out mind, tends to, after the big idea, get that big idea, start going, but how am I going to do that? I can't figure that out. I always know if I'm in my ego mind, by the way, if I hear myself saying, how am I going to do this? How am I going to work it out? I've got to figure this out. You might have a little of that going on with you too. But there's a different way that we can dream dreams, dream bigger, and there's not only spirituality behind it, there's also science behind it, and I'm really a junkie for the science of mind. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. Larry wasn't the only person who ever went up in balloon. But here's the thing. When you're working on a really big dream, one of the things that is helpful with your dream is if you can have an idea of how it's going to contribute. Not just feed you, but contribute to others. Because the more elevated and lofty a dream becomes, you will find that the better you feel, the more it serves not just yourself, but other people. The idea that we can get up every morning, and this is something that my Monday morning metaphysics folks have heard when we read a book by somebody named Genevieve Barrand, Your Invisible Power, and she invited us. She said, every morning, try getting up, and the first thing you think is, what's the purpose of the power which put me here? What's the purpose of the power that put me here? And how can I work with the purpose for life and liberty in me, recognizing that it will also serve others? So I want to show you what a dream, a balloon dream, looks like when there's some preparedness behind it. Again, chance definitely leans on the side of a prepared mind. Let's show the video.
Imagine as a child, you thought if you could just get enough helium balloons, could you float away? And we're normally told, no, that's not possible. You're not going to be able to fly with helium balloons. But I revisited that idea as an adult, and I argued if one balloon provides some unit of lift, why wouldn't we be able to scale that? And that's what we're doing.
I'm flying my chair.
My name is Trap, and I am a technical projects manager at a large IT consulting firm as a day job, but I have an unusual passion and hobby, which is to take helium balloons, toy helium balloons, and assemble them in massive clusters for manned flight. These are balloons that were never intended to support manned flight, but that's what we've caused them to do.
17,100, still climbing.
That passion has carried me aloft on more than a dozen flights across as many years. Sometimes it's just me, just my body in a tiny little harness. Sometimes we're flying bigger things. I've flown houses. What a thing to say. I've flown houses, 2 of them. We were flying these toy helium balloons before the Disney Pixar film Up. But I will say this, that the film Up also inspired us. Now, the idea of flying a house under toy helium balloons absolutely came from the Disney Pixar film. One of the things I love about flying these helium balloons is they have the capability for real expedition level flights. What I'm talking about is flights of 23,000 feet in an open gondola carried only by helium balloons.
13,000 feet as we cross the Alps.
It varies from a small cluster, a couple dozen balloons, to extraordinarily large, towering clusters, 365 of these massive balloons. We've flown clusters for 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours. The longest we've ever flown in a single flight, 466 miles. When I take off, I don't know where I'm going to put down. I'll select a safe place to land in flight, but I'm flying hundreds of miles without knowing exactly where I'll land.
Okay, we're down.
So it's a mix of art and science. The art is the colorful cluster of helium balloons, but the science is, it is quite serious, and I treat it seriously. There's human life at stake. My life and the lives of those I share the sky with, and the lives of those under me.
Hello? How are you?
We work with the Federal Aviation Administration in terms of getting the aircraft certified.
London, this is Gas Balloon calling to activate my flight plan.
It took me about a year to go to flight school, get a pilot's license, and after about a year of tests and training and certifications, we made our first flight using my standard office chair as my gondola for that flight. When you're up there, it's not just leisure and relaxation, you're floating away. You have moments of that, but there's a lot more time spent thinking, okay, am I heading the right direction? Do I have any airspace or obstacles in front of me?
Okay, we're climbing 120 right at 18,000 feet, so it's trying to get this guy to a zero pressure configuration.
You have to fly the aircraft. If I'm climbing and I need to initiate a descent, I need to vent helium. The balloons are biodegradable, so we can also cut the balloons away, cut away individual balloons. So there's a whole calculation, and it changes every flight depending on what I'm flying. The feeling of launching is unparalleled. It's not like anything else. To fly an aircraft that's completely silent, makes no sound.
We're approaching sunset. It's really beautiful out there.
There's no rotor, there's no prop, there's no jet, there's no burner like a hot air balloon, there's no roar of wind like you get in a glider. It's completely silent flight.
Listen. There's no sound.
So what's the whole point of this? Why do it? It's to lead an interesting life.
That is the most beautiful moonrise I've seen in my entire life.
It enriches my life to look back and reflect on what we've accomplished. I have all of those moments as prized memories to keep me warm in my old age.
Can we see a little difference between Larry and the preparation that went into this? I just love the contrast on that, because both people had a dream. But one of the dreams was really more in the realm of not just fulfilling Larry's need, but also all the people that probably got a lot of joy out of seeing a flying house, and all of the work that he went into to get his pilot's license and to learn about it. You know, really what he wasn't doing was defying laws. He was working with the laws of gravity and aerodynamics. Because what we are always doing in our lives is we're always working with the thing called law. You know, we have physical laws, obviously gravity being one of them. We've all had that experience. But the laws that we work with in metaphysics are spiritual laws. They're mental laws. And one of the best teachers of that was Jesus, who taught us the very, very simple art of sowing and reaping. A seed put into soil produces in like kind. You cannot put a rutabaga seed into soil and expect to get a petunia. You might be disappointed. You might blame the person who sold you the seeds. You could blame the soil. You can do whatever you want. You can find blame or feel ashamed that you didn't do it right. But the point of the matter is, you plant the seed and God grows the seed and you get a result. And we're always doing this in mind. Every single one of us is always doing this in mind. We are always planting seeds. It's just those seeds we're planting are seed ideas. And when we plant them with some sense of fervence and awareness, they go into something that is very akin to soil. It's called the law. And the law knows what to do with the seed, and it cannot do anything other than produce for you what you put into it. And you're doing it all day long, and so am I. Ironically, we don't always know we're doing it, and so we're getting all kinds of conditions and circumstances in our life that we don't understand, problems, challenges, and we don't know how they got there. A lot like if you have weeds in your garden. The way they got there is they got planted. And they got planted probably unconsciously. And what we want to do is learn how to be more conscious, more deliberate, and more serving and effective in the way we think about what we think about, because what we think about, we bring about. Okay, so what's this thing? What is with this green balloon? Do you think I'm figuring you might want to just start one of those of your own? No. This green balloon was an idea that came from one of the teachers that Michael and I had years ago when we first started our ministry, a wonderful woman named Mary Morrissey. Many of you might have heard of Mary Morrissey, who's a fabulous motivational teacher. She was also a remarkable minister who grew a huge, it was like a non-denominational Christian metaphysical church up in Wilsonville, Oregon. And it was a green balloon that started the evolution of her church and their board and their leadership moving from where they were, which was not adequate, to an amazing facility which was beyond their wildest dreams. And the way they did that is they had a consultant who'd come in and he worked with them on, okay, what is your vision? What is it that you're dreaming about? And he got them to be clear. There is a dream. It's not a vague thing like, gee, maybe someday I'll have a dream. It was like, no, they had a dream. They had a vision of something they desired. And the cool thing about it was so big, they had no way to know how to do it. So he said, okay, we're going to do something here. And he rummaged in their desk, and they found an old green balloon, probably from Christmas or something left over. And he took the balloon, and he blew it up, and he tied it off, and he walked over, and he put it all the way across the room in the corner as far as he could go. And he taped it there. And then he had them all go to the exact opposite side of the room, kind of huddle over there, and talk about the dream they wanted to manifest. And they talked about how it would feel. A lot of this is about feeling, because here's the deal: feeling gets a healing. So when you have a big dream, you want to be able to feel that dream. You don't know maybe what it is, but you know how you want to feel in it. So they all stood there and they talked about how they wanted to feel and what they could visualize, and it was a collective visualization because it was a group activity. But each one of them articulated something that they wanted to have out of that or wanted to be able to realize out of it, and also how was it going to serve? That was a big one too. What was it going to do to be contributing not just to them, but to a greater number of people? And so the consultant said, okay, so you know what you desire, and you're here now. And then he pointed all the way across the room and he said, and over there is that green balloon. That's your demonstration. And everything else in between is God's job. You mean we can't figure out how to make it happen? You mean we don't have to do this all by ourselves? And it's really funny. Ego, we've heard it edging God out. It also is earth guide only. I love that. It stands for earth guide only. It only works on earth. But we're not going to be working on earthly stuff. When we're planting a big dream, the work we will work with in New Thought, in metaphysics, is to learn how to work with the law, to let the law do to our dream what it does to a seed in the soil. I got to read this to you because a part of this is we got to grow a bigger God. Not that we need God to be bigger. It's already all it is. God is infinite. God is all there is. There's nothing that is not God. Ergo, you are God in expression. I am an individualization of it. So are you. It's like, whoa, that's a big idea unto itself, right? But if it's an infinite mind, boundless and limitless, how could you be outside of it? There is no outside of infinite. There's only the inside of infinite being one. And when we consider it's one universal consciousness, we're all using it at our own local address. So our dreams are going to be very personal to us. And what I just love is that God, at the level of the absolute, needs me and you to dream so it can make stuff up. So here's an amazing thing. This is where the geeky science comes in that I get so excited about. Max Planck. You've probably heard, many of you have heard of Max Planck. He was a German theoretical physicist who discovered the energy quanta, which won him the Nobel Prize in physics in 1918, all the way back there. His main fame is as a physicist that rests on his primary thing is that he had the role of being the originator of quantum theory, which revolutionized human understanding of atomic and some atomic processes. And I love studying quantum physics because it's like the simplistic thing about quantum physics is, as I understand it, everything's waves. There are infinite, limitless waves of potentiality and possibility. They're all around us. They're everywhere. And what's cool is when one of those waves gets focused on or measured, it stops being a wave and becomes a particle. You know, who taught this? Jesus. Faith of a mustard seed, you can say move the mountain, right? It's when the wave is focused on, decided on, it becomes a particle. Now what happens with a particle is somehow, some way that we don't understand, the law goes to work on that particle and begins to attract the vibration it will take to move that idea that that particle represents from the invisible into visibility with mathematical accuracy. Now, I don't know about you, but I think that's really cool. What Planck said, now here we go talking about God. What Planck said, as a man who is devoted, talking about himself, as a man who has devoted his whole life to the most clear-headed science, to the study of matter, I can tell you as a result of my research about atoms this much. There is no matter as such. All matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force, which brings the particle of an atom to vibration and holds this most minute solar system of the atom together. We must assume behind this force existence of a conscious and intelligent spirit. This spirit is the matrix. Am I on? There I am. So I kind of love that, and I heard Wayne Dyer say one day, he said, you know what Einstein said about quantum physics? He said, quantum physics isn't just stranger than you think, it's stranger than you can think. But I just love knowing these things because to me, I've always wondered, how does God know how to grow the tree I planted? You know, I plant the tree, I plant the tree, God grows the tree, God's got the hard part, right? I don't know how to grow a tree, I know how to plant a tree. So when we think in terms of the physical ideas, everything, if you look around the room, every single thing that is not biological or botanical started as a seed idea. So everything is created twice, first in thought and then in form. So we can use this. This is the beautiful part I wanted to bring to you today. This is the good news. We can use this. We can take a green balloon today, and I'm going to invite you, be thinking, what would be a dream that you would like to have that you could put on your balloon, write down that idea. Swap now here. Wardrobe change. Okay. You know, what would be something that you would like to take your green balloon, write it on there, what your dream is, blow it up, and take it across the room, put it over there like an icon to remind you that you are now in process. And God is moving through you. Now, this does not mean that you don't move your feet. You've probably heard this, pray and move your feet. This doesn't mean you're going to sit in the corner and go, okay, God, do it. Take it too long. Come on, where is it? Yep. No, we got to do something. Now, what do? Well, we wait upon the Lord, law. We wait upon the law. We await the divine download. What's mine next to do? And then we work with something like every morning, getting up, going, what is the purpose for the power that put me here? What is my next step? So what we're going to do is I'm going to play you yet another video about planting seeds in sowing. And when we're done, we're going to have Michael is going to take us right into meditation and meditate you into planting your seed idea. Now, FYI, if you don't know today what that idea is, you're still seeking it, you don't have to know right now. You could even have your green balloon be, I don't know yet, and I'm willing, whatever that is. But if you have an idea of what you'd like to plant, that's going to be on your balloon. And by the way, you can take more balloons when you're leaving. We have a lot more balloons. So let's go ahead and play the video.
I spent a long time running. I never knew then what I know now. That the fruits, they always come in, but you can't go around just knocking them down. It takes a long time to show in. We plant the seeds then and we look at them now. But the roots are always growing, no matter if I'm there or never around.
Whatever grows will grow, whatever dies will die, whatever works will work, whatever flies will fly, whatever fails will fail, what's meant to soar will soar. I am planting seeds, nothing
It's like your whole life you've been training for this moment, and when the time comes you just disown it, meaning you just surrender, don't control it. Not interested in the clay pots and molding, or sitting next to the path trying to unfold it, or waiting for the fruits to fall down toward you. Let it go and now you're flowing, feeling quite gorgeous, so you take steps away instead of towards it. What a rush, feeling freedom with nothing to hold. We've been taught that what you touch will always turn to gold, and now we're learning when we let it go it overflows, with no credit to take cause no credit is home. A higher power working deeper where the seeds are sowed, and when the seeds are true then they're seeds of gold. But the real gold is joy when life starts to flow, and when it does you just smile cause now you know. I spent a long time running, I never knew then what I know now. That the fruits, they always come in, but you can't go around just knocking them down. It takes a long time to show in. We plant the seeds then and we look at them now. But the roots are always growing, no matter if I'm there or never around.
Whatever grows will grow, whatever dies will die, whatever works will work, whatever flies will fly, whatever fails will fail, what's meant to soar will soar. I am planting seeds. Whatever grows will grow.
When it grows, it grows.
Whatever dies will die.
And when it dies, it dies. Come on. If it works, it works.
Whatever flies will
let it fly, let it
whatever
fly.
Fails will fail.
When it fails, it fails.
What's meant to soar will soar.
When it soars, it soars.
I am planting seeds. Whatever grows will grow.
Let it grow, let it grow.
Whatever dies will die.
When it dies, it dies.
Whatever works will grow.
When it works, it works.
Whatever flies
yeah.
will fly.
Let it fly, let it fly. And nothing more.
I invite you just to get comfortable right where you are, and let's just take a deep breath in, slowly release. We let ourselves be present to this greater idea right now. Knowing as I speak this in the first person that I am this one presence, this one intelligence, this one mind, God. I invite you to know that for yourself in that first person, the I am that. And I accept and know that I live in an infinite universe, full and complete with waves of possibility that surround me. idea for myself, a dream, a vision, whatever it is, whether I'm clear on that right now or just willing to receive the inspiration and guidance of Spirit, I know that it's present to me right now. Because right in this now moment, each of us is planting a seed through these words. Whether it be the willingness to accept this great idea and this seed, or whether it is actually the idea and the vision, the knowingness, the dream that I have right now, I take this seed idea, this dream, and holding it in my heart, I have a knowingness that it already exists. Because in the infinite, everything that could be already is. It is up to me to just decide what it is that I desire. And I know that Spirit always says yes. So I take this dream right now and hold it in my heart. Be myself in it. I go to the end result, that green balloon taped across the room. And I see myself fulfilled and living in and expressing this very dream. And I know that as I do this, I am planting a seed. Planting a seed in the infinite mind and the infinite intelligence and the infinite power of God that does always say yes. Yes, it is my pleasure to already give you the kingdom. And I accept the kingdom. And I know that as I accept this vision, this dream, and as Spirit says yes to it, I need not do the work of figuring out how to make it happen. I turn that part over to Spirit. I know that all I need to do is simply pay attention, listen, and stay attuned to the energy of that dream, to see myself continuously living it, and to listen for the guidance and the inspiration that will come from all around me, leading me and guiding me and directing me, and it's happening right now. There is no dream too big and no dream too small for Spirit. I'm grateful today, so grateful for knowing that even this very moment and this prayer and this meditation is a part of this process of the unfoldment of my dream and the unfoldment of whatever it is I may seek to understand what dream I may have. It's all happening in this now moment. The process is already going right here and now. It's moving along just the way it needs to, in the right and perfect way, and the right and perfect time. And I am so grateful. I am so blessed to know this right now. I say thank you, God. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Christ consciousness, for this beautiful expression of good that is already unfolding in my life, that I know blesses not only me, but blesses everyone around me and blesses this entire planet. For this I am grateful. And accepting that this word that has been spoken is already complete and fulfilled, just as the seed is, containing everything it needs. And I'm turning it over to Spirit to do its thing and let that seed grow. I say thank you. I release. I let go. And we let it be so by saying, and so it is.